the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's so great to see you all here. This being the Sunday when people make their pledge to the work of the church, I figured 4 or 5 of you might actually show up. We're glad you're here, very much so. I want to talk to you this morning about that woman. But before I do, I want you to understand that I did not pick this lesson because this was Pledge Sunday. If you look in the back of your prayer book, you will see that there's a lectionary. And people in 1974 created this lectionary and made it that way. So it's been ordained that what was the gospel today since 1974. But I want to think about this woman because I find that there's a whole bunch of stuff surrounding it that's a little bit sketchy. First off, the treasury box is across the street from where Jesus and his disciples are. And they're watching the procession of people come, and as people come to church, like they do in a lot of places, they put their offering in the treasury box. And Jesus and his disciples are watching, seeing what's going on, and they see people in rich procession, clothed in great garments, putting in great amounts of money into this treasury box, and then they notice this lady. Now the first thing that's noticeable about her is she probably was a bag lady. How else from across the street would he know about her poverty? I don't know if you know about street people, but every city's got them. And I spent my seminary years in New York City, and there were plenty of street people in New York City. And the thing that's interesting about them is that street people are neighborhood people. Every neighborhood has the ones that hang around their neighborhood. And so you get to know your street people. And we had 2 of them that were really wonderful. One of them used to go up to people, just accost them in the street and go, "Don't you think the Roman Catholic Church is the bastion of fascism in the United States? Don't you think that the President of the United States needs to get a haircut? Don't you think?" And he would just be in people's faces all the time. And there was another lady, and she was a bag lady, and she had 2 shopping bags with all of her worldly possessions. And she would go from street corner to street corner. Each day she picked a different crossroad. And she'd wait until the light turned and she'd get across the street. And when she got across the street, she'd put her bags down and she'd go, and then she'd pick her bags up and wait for the light and go to the next one. And that's what she did. That's how she did her day. So there was this one day when the crosstown bus on 23rd Street was coming, and the guy got on the bus. And there was a seat because it was on 10th Avenue. And so he was on the bus. And then we saw that at the next corner, the lady was going to get on. And we thought, wouldn't it be cool if he went, "Don't you think?" and she went, and we all got a good laugh. So the entire bus, without saying a word, without saying a single word, parted so that there was only one seat left on the bus, next to the guy. And she got on the bus, and the bus pulled away. And she was walking towards the seat, and the entire bus was waiting with anticipation. And she sat down. And the guy said, "Hi, Marge." She said, "Hi, Bill, how you doing?" We have so many assumptions about people, particularly people that are different from us, and particularly street people, that are usually incorrect. One of them was we all thought they didn't know each other. They lived in the neighborhood. They knew each other just as well, probably better than most of the neighbors knew each other. So Jesus says, look at her. In her poverty, she's put in all that she has. And he says what's in her heart. And I have a question about that. My question is, how did he know what's in her heart? I mean, I could come up with a bunch of different scenarios, like she's so upset with the way things are, she's going to say, "Oh, the heck with it," and put her 2 pennies in there and walk away angry at God. because her life has been so bad. Or like someone who just got 2 pennies somehow and is playing roulette decides to let it all ride on one number. That's a different motivation. How does he know what she's doing? Because it is very difficult to figure out about anybody what's in their heart. This is the Sunday when we ask you to make a commitment to the work of the church. And, you know, I'm hard about that stuff. I have a very, you probably don't know this, but I have a very definite opinion about how people should be giving. But the thing is, I can't know what's in your heart. I don't know why people give. Some people give out of gratitude. Some people give because they just ran into some money. You know, some people give for all sorts of reasons. And you think about this in the context of today, Veterans Day, the 100th anniversary of Veterans Day. And by the way, at 11 o'clock, in 10 minutes, we are joining with all of Southport in ringing our church bells back at the church. Okay, because all of Southport on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, when World War I ended, that was armistice. And if you got up early enough this morning, you could see that 72 world leaders were present to honor those people who had given their lives in World War I, and to all of those who were wounded, and they started listing the numbers. 9 million dead, 21 million wounded, civilians wounded, and they went on. It was the numbers were in the millions. All for that one war to end all wars. That didn't work either, did it? And every one of those soldiers, every one of our veterans today has gone and given of their time and their talent and their treasure to defend and be a part of our nation. And we can't know what's in their hearts. I mean, during the Vietnam conflict, there were lots of different things in people's hearts as they went and served their country. I remember asking my father, you remember the movie Saving Private Ryan? I remember asking my father, he was in the 3rd wave on D-Day. And I said to him, are you going to go see Saving Private Ryan? And he said, and this is, I'm quoting him now, why in the hell would I do that? He said, you want to know what D-Day was like? D-Day was like I was scared to death, and some guy pushed me out into the water, and I'm waist deep in the water, and the guy next to me gets his head chopped off by bullets. Why would I want to relive that? What was in his heart was fear. Maybe, I don't know what was in the hearts of anybody else. I can't judge that. But what I do know is this, is that in the heart of everyone who has ever served this nation, a piece of that is love of nation. A piece of that is giving for what you love. And so I'm going to make an assumption, as hard as I am about all the language that I use about giving, that I can't know what's in your heart, but that at least a piece of it is about your relationship with God. That's why we don't touch the pledges. They come here. So when you come up for communion, because it's between you and God, you put your pledge in here. And then that'll get taken off and counted and all of that. But I want to say that love of church, love of God, is at least in part in everyone's heart in this place. I know that because we're in a moose lodge. And I want to thank you, not for your giving, and not for your love of God, but for loving this church and being a part of it. Amen.